Is this for real? Is this like a Chael Sonnen fucking thing or what?
I look like a 90s serial killer,
A little bit.
you know?
There's definitely a Jeffrey Dahmer thing going on.
Yeah, I think so.
What is it? Is that like, are they blue blockers?
I don't know. I just saw them in my drawer. I put them on.
Okay. All right. For people watching, welcome back to the Real Bodybuilding Podcast. I'm here with Ian. We're going to break down FIBO really quickly, and then we're going to do a bunch of rate your physiques. So if you don't want to watch the rate your physiques because they're a little boring, the first part of this is going to be the FIBO breakdown. We'll get through it probably in 5 or 10 minutes. There's not a lot to talk about. It's pretty clear cut. Well, not really. But anyway, we'll get through it pretty quickly, and then we'll get to the rate your physiques. So with that being said, Ian, let's get started. I'm going to take us to Instagram. So this is Bodybuilders of the Borders page. The prejudging picks went up first this morning. So let's cover prejudging first. Let's go. I want to show the individuals. This was Andrew this morning, which I thought was blasting full, but people weren't really impressed with his condition. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously his conditioning is nothing to write home about. I mean, we've definitely seen Andrew in a lot better condition than this. He's super full. I'm assuming that they didn't look, this is a complete fucking assumption, but I'm assuming they didn't think this was going to be like a super challenged show.
Yeah.
He did the Arnold. He probably chilled for a bit, popped back on, got a little tighter, hopped in the show. And he still walked away with a win. So, I mean, you can't hate on him for however he conducted himself there. Lined himself up for a little easier time going into the Olympia.
Right.
So no, it's not the best Andrew we've seen. It's probably one of the bigger Andrews we've seen. He's fucking huge. I'd be interested to see what he weighs. Like, look at that there. It's crazy.
I actually think this is the biggest but least conditioned Andrew we've ever seen.
I would completely agree. So
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, definitely not the best conditioning, fucking big as a house, but still a bodybuilding show. So
can I want to ask you something though, and I'm skipping ahead here because at finals, I thought he was dramatically better.
He was better for sure.
So what I thought when I saw the finals pictures come out was, you know what? Because I kind of thought the same thing you did at the beginning. I was like, you know what? They probably just decided to jump in last minute. Let's get an Olympic qualification. Didn't think it would be a problem.
Yeah.
But because he came back at night so much tighter, I actually think maybe they just fucked up his peak. Because
yes and no. You can also
because it was almost like it was more water than fat.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be both. I mean, there is still body fat there, of course. But do I think you could get on stage a prejudge and be like, maybe I'm leaving this a little too open to chance here, like let's fucking reel things in a bit more for finals.
Yeah.
And he definitely looked way better at finals here.
Like this is a really
the
good
lighting
version.
looks a little different here to me. But you can definitely see he's crisper for sure. Yeah. I do like this look. I actually like this look. I mean, I think he's still a little too soft from the back. For my liking, but that's definitely much more appropriate. Like that actually looks pretty solid there. And he did win by a perfect score at finals versus a split decision in prejudge. So that's fair.
Yeah, this is almost like from the front, it might almost be my favorite Andrew because he's full.
It's a great Andrew.
He's full as fuck and dry, but from the back, you're right. You still got a little bit to go.
Yeah, I mean it's not the worst Andrew we've seen. It's not the best Andrew we've seen.
Just look
conditioning wise.
I have never seen like the depth. The chest and like the separation is so deep. It's like
he has one of the best chests in the pro league. That's undoubtable.
I know. I just have never seen him this full. Like this is crazy.
Yeah, no. From the front, this is a solid look. I mean, I definitely there's more to be desired from a conditioning standpoint.
Yeah.
But I think this night look is a solid look. I don't think this is like if he showed up like this at prejudging, I don't think anyone would have critiqued him.
No.
For his conditioning because this would have been like acceptable Andrew conditioning.
Yeah. I agree.
Obviously you have a physique like this, you can get away with a little less in the conditioning department.
This was Sassan at prejudge. I didn't get a really good look at the night show pictures of him, but he looked a tad flat to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think conditioning was good. You can see obviously the quads, even the fucking teardrop is cross-striated. It's crazy.
Yeah.
He's got super balanced physique. Obviously, he doesn't have the level of muscularity that Andrew has. And that was clearly the deciding factor here. I agree he was a little flat. I noticed it most when he did like see shots like this in his chest.
Yeah.
Especially in the ab and thigh. If he gets around to an ab and thigh, when he gets his hands overhead, I noticed it the most there. I thought he was hitting his back shots a little better than at Detroit. not here.
Yeah.
But later in finals, I saw him a couple shots where he got it a little more open.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was a solid look from Sass. Obviously, it's tough to compare to Detroit because the lighting here is like completely inferior. And that's not saying that it's bad. Your show's just really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's hard to compare if he looked better or worse. I think his conditioning's good. You can see here the chest is a touch flat.
I actually thought he was a little bit crispier here.
I can agree. Yeah.
Like thinner skin than he was in Detroit, but he sacrificed a little bit of fullness for it.
I agree. Yeah, I would agree with that. And you can see it in the quads, especially. I mean, the quad detail is fucking, even in this lighting, is bonkers, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so then we had Sergio, who took some time off, and people were expecting a lot from, and I don't know if we got what we wanted to get. I think still, he feels like he's a little bit bigger in areas to me, but still some gaps in his physique.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I see a little more fullness on the sweep of the quad.
Yeah.
You know, but I think some shots like in the chest here is still a bit thin, especially in the front double when his hands are up.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the conditioning needs to still be a little crisper in some areas. But I think this was a solid, like you can see the side leg here has got some good detail, some good shots for sure. But I mean, there's still obviously more to be desired for Sergio for sure. You know,
I don't hate the conditioning. I think he's somewhere between Andrew and Sass, obviously.
I agree. Yeah.
And this pose is not really great for him because he's not flexing the glute. He's actually more shredded than that. You'll see here. I don't think the conditioning was that bad. I think my biggest gripe is the back. I think if Sergio can thicken this up, because if you look around the body, right, you see the cap on the delt, you see the cap on the tricep.
Yep.
The quads are thick, hamstrings are split, adductors are good, but then this area here is not really matching.
Yeah. No, actually, I agree with you. Seeing this now, you know, in the hamstrings and glutes from him posing this a bit differently, I think the conditioning is actually pretty solid here. I don't think he's as detailed as Sass, but I think that's more of like a detail polish thing.
Yeah.
But his conditioning here looks great. I mean, those glutes and hamstrings are obviously fucking super hard, but the back is still on the shallow side. You could see it even more so in the back double.
Yeah.
You know, the lat insertions are a bit high.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a little bit of empty space below, you know, between the erectors and the lat there.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I think this was a solid Sergio. I don't think it's the best Sergio we've seen. I think it's a really good Sergio.
Yeah. I agree.
But I mean, you know, it's Sass is just super complete and always gets in really good condition. So you can see there, like his chest just a little on the flat side, but so was Sass's as well. So, I mean, when you have someone like Andrew, who's just so dominant from a muscularity standpoint, it's tough for anybody, man. You know?
I will say this, Sergio is a little bit deceiving.
He's
when you
way
see
bigger in person. Yeah.
When you see him in the individual callouts, you're like, oh, there's some gaps, and he doesn't look that big, and he's not that huge. And then you see him in the lineup, and you're like, wait a minute, he's not that much smaller in structure, not in muscularity.
Structure-wise, compared to Andrew, he's not that much smaller.
No, that's what I mean.
You've seen him. Yeah,
that's what I mean. So when you see him, when I'm going to show the top three right now, when you see him standing there, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
he's actually a lot fucking bigger. Like here we see the three of them posing down together. I wonder if I can expand this a little bit.
Yeah, structurally, but then you see the depth to the muscularity. His quads actually look really good here. I'm actually pretty pleased with the improvements to his quads on the front shots.
Let me see if I can. Sorry, I just want to see if I can get something a little closer. This is a night show, but fuck it.
There, bottom right.
That's. Wait a second.
Oh, up.
There we go. That's pretty good.
See, I'm actually really happy with how his quads looked here.
Yeah.
I think, you know, he's had some showings where you're like, meh, and this is better. You know, I mean, he's got the same kind of chest where I did in my career. You know, it looks decent in some shots and not great in others when your arms are up. You know, he loses, especially in the inner, like middle there, a bit of the fullness.
Yeah.
You know, not as bad in the front lat, but still a bit to be desired, but that's a decent shot. But he just needs, you know, he's got a big fucking frame.
Yeah.
In some areas, just like, you know, even compared to Justin there, if you go back on the side chest, you know, even Justin fourth, you can just see the depth, you know, in the leg, in the chest, in the shoulder, the roundness to the delt.
Yeah.
You know, his arms are solid, biceps especially. But I mean, as a whole, he's riding on a lot of the structural size versus like the muscularity size, you know?
Right. This is the shot I think
that hurts him the most. Yeah.
It hurts him the most of all of them. I actually think this isn't as bad as he's posing it. I kind of feel like he's pushing his glutes out to get the adductor and he's really arching his back.
Yeah.
And whatever low lat he has is actually being tucked away.
I think he needs to pose this like Chris does. Because you remember how Chris, the first couple of years, he was like, his back double was fucking brutal, you know?
Yeah.
And he kind of poses back like that. And then one year, everyone's like, oh my God, he made the biggest back gains of all time from like 19 to 20.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Look, he made some, sure, but he didn't make like astronomical. He learned how to pose it, you know?
Right.
And I think kind of popping that spine back and kind of getting everything out a little more, I think did a lot instead of kind of really crunching it back like that, you know?
Well, the person I think of the most is Roman, because Roman has
Yeah.
higher lats, and
Yeah.
last year or the year,
He kind
the
of
year
down,
before,
you
yeah,
know?
he started when he does his back double. Now he actually pushes his spine outwards,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that actually creates more depth and pushes the muscle out.
Well, you
Whereas
could,
Sergio's rounding it this way,
yeah.
and it's tucking everything in and under, and you're not able to see it.
If you guys go watch and you know someone like Chris as he gets into the pose and kind of settles into it, or even Mike, you know, Mike the Badass, like when he does it, he kind of like gets there and he kind of like settles in.
They do this. It's almost like their back rounds.
Yeah, they kind of
yeah.
settle in. Just there's
Yeah.
like this last minute like kunk, like settle into it.
Yeah.
Versus Sergio, I think settling like back that way.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
I'd like to see him pose that a little differently. You know, but yeah, that pose obviously still leaves a bit to be desired there from the lower body and upper body standpoint, you know.
I wanted to cover Justin because I was actually pretty shocked. I was very hard on him before the show as far as predictions went.
Yeah.
And the reason I was is because in Detroit, I thought he had a distended stomach, but
Oh, it was
but he
terrible
actually
yeah.
no. But I mean, I thought it was like I didn't think it was a food situation. I thought it was just his stomach.
Yeah.
But it turns out from looking at him here, he might have just ate something bad because he's turned this around in a month.
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely a huge improvement here. And, you know, you and I think we both talked to him.
Look at
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. No, I think the poses where he was, especially in Detroit, having the most trouble controlling was on the side shots.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's still not perfect here, but it is a massive improvement. And I think a lot of that was digestive issues for sure.
Yeah.
But if you looked at him, what he looked like last year, he wasn't having any issues. So I think there's not that much abdominal growth in the year. I think it's just he's not quite figured out how to get full to the level he needs to be for this level of muscularity and also keep that midsection under control. So I think it's something he'll have to play with, you know, maybe starting the food a bit earlier in the week and then tapering it back, you know, fluid levels, things like this, or food source issues. So I think he definitely got it. You can even see he's about to hit a side shot here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way better control than he had.
Oh my God. Not even night and day.
Yeah, night and day.
Night and day.
And I messaged him and said that it was a humongous improvement, you know?
Yeah. I gotta tell you, I think like when I look at him and Sergio in the lineup,
That's close between them, in my opinion.
I actually thought like, you know, Sergio is structurally bigger.
Yeah, wider for sure.
I think Musial actually does a better job of filling out his frame and actually looks more muscular because of it.
Yeah, I mean, he is certainly more muscular. He has more muscle on the frame. His conditioning was obviously superior in some ways, you know, like just a hardness kind of factor. I thought that was a good comparison. And I think they did do a 2-man call out with just them. I think they did Sassan and Andrew, and I think they also did a 2-man, right?
I don't see them here, but yeah, they might have.
I did see some.
So there was some talk of Sass beating Andrew. I heard that all morning long. Obviously, Andrew came back at night better. Mm-hmm. Is there any? I mean, Sass did beat him at prejudging, so I think the judges saw it that way too.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think that was a fair call. Like, look, Andrew is just so big and so pretty, but there gets to a point where there's like you kind of got to teach an athlete a little bit of a lesson with like an unacceptable level of conditioning.
I agree.
And I think from prejudging I'm willing to bet that one of the judges or someone's coach or somebody talked to the judges like, yo, you got to fucking reel it in tonight. Or you're going to lose the show to like someone that you should really be beating, you know?
Right.
And he reeled it in and held on to it. So, you know, kudos to him. He was markedly better at night, but yeah, I'm sure he got a little bit of inside access to like, yo, fucking pull it together, homie, you know?
I wanted to show a couple other people if I can find the pictures. I think Yosef probably finished 5th, but
yeah, Yosef was 5th, and this guy
I just wanted to make a special mention for this kid. This kid's 24 years old. He got his pro card the day before.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you guys, this is one to watch. A little bit more size, and this is like a top 10 Olympian. This frame and structure, and muscularity is incredible. His
Look at
back
the calves on this fucker, bro.
Yeah, I know. His back probably needs a little bit more. I don't know if there's a back shot in here somewhere, but like, look at this on
Yeah.
stage, man. It's just,
Great balance, good conditioning,
yeah, his
nice
back,
shape.
like that back gets a little bit thicker in the lower lats to
Yeah.
match the hamstrings and shit. And you got a wild physique now.
Yeah. Young guys are usually what they're missing is fucking typically backs, but like that's great
I'm
shot there.
super impressed. So I just want to make special mention of that.
Alas.
Um, all right. Well, Andrew's back at the Olympia. Is he going to be better than top five?
Better than top five, so like into the top three.
Top four? Four, three, two, one.
I see him probably 4. I don't think he's beating Andrew. I don't think he's beating Samson.
Samson. You don't think he's beating
Samson,
Derek?
Hottie, Derek. And even Martin, I think, is going to be a tall order for him.
What about Nick?
I mean, he lost to Martin last year, so
What about Nick?
certainly possible. I need to see Nick before I start. Like right now, I'm going to say Andrew beats Nick only because I don't have any. I don't want to like discredit Andrew for a Nick we haven't even seen. You know,
right. I get it.
Like Andrew's earned it to be ahead of Nick for now. If Nick displays something in Pittsburgh or New York, then I'll give him that nod.
All right, last one about the Olympia. What about Bonac? The Bonac we saw in Detroit, a little bit sharper. Does that beat Andrew?
No.
That it doesn't beat Andrew.
No, Andrew's just too fucking big for that. Man.
Shape is too pretty, eh?
Shape is too pretty. He has the shape, especially in the front shots. That's a massive discrepancy. Like Bonac's weakest shots are like that front double, front lat, you know, like those shots that where his lats are a little narrow to his waist, which are like Andrew's nicest shots.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, I mean, he's way better from the back in terms of conditioning and detail, but Andrew is like a foot taller and like 80 pounds heavier.
I know.
So
structure doesn't matter.
It does structure and just size, man. This is bodybuilding. Like, you know, it's like Martin beats C-Bum, you know?
I just think it's funny because I didn't really realize how important it was until I had Weinberger on my podcast. And he basically said the reason Clarita is not beating some of these guys
it's too small.
Is just the structure. He's got all the muscularity, but the structure is just too small. So
yeah.
Anyway, we'll wrap it there. Check out, you know what I said at the beginning, we're going to do a Rate Your Physique. I'm going to pause this here. And we're going to do a separate video for Rate Your Physique. We'll just put them both up separately. That way nobody's got to turn it off anyway. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys on the podcast and wherever else we are. Later. Okay, we're back. You're going tomorrow.
Yep.
You can't podcast because you got to film a video with Devin Larratt. And it's an arm wrestling video.
Well, I'm not going to be arm wrestling.
The guy who broke your arm the first time.
Yeah, we're having our reunion, our 13-year reunion.
You're having a rematch. You're gonna break your arm again.
It's almost been 13 years to the day, bro. We got to meet up every fucking.
Can we knock on wood, dude? Don't arm wrestle him.
Okay, wait. Anyone that knows arm wrestling, which is probably nobody watching this, but I'm not going to go arm wrestle Devin. Like if we're going at this point, we're going to just be like, he's going to give me some pointers. We're going to teach. We're going to, you know, he's not going to like, there's no point. Devin fucking squashed me. He's the best arm wrestler, second best arm wrestler.
No. I never said anything about you beating him. I know how competitive you are. And you're going to end up getting your arm broken again.
Look, I even knew not to arm wrestle him the first time. I got coaxed into it and I succumbed to peer pressure. That wasn't me thinking I would ever, you know, that was my competitiveness kicking in there. That was like, fuck, fine, you know? 21-year-old Ian and hot girls coaxing me into fucking nonsense.
Yeah, that would make me want to break my arm too, I guess.
Yeah, it's worth it. Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck tomorrow. Don't break your arm.
I won't. Well, it's titanium reinforced now, bro. This thing is unbreakable. You know?
No, please don't jinx yourself. Okay. All right. You guys watch, check out Ian's YouTube channel for that video. It's probably dropping sometime this week. Everybody pray he doesn't break his arm. I'll talk to you later, man.
Yeah.
Bye.